you can see that by default we still have the default line, touch a trophy to inspect, and you can touch a trophy to inspect, but if you change page, it says page 2 or page 1. Here they're still locked, hit play. So now if you just lose and go back to the shop, we now have those achievements. Perfect. Hi, I'm Ricky. Today we're on the 32nd episode of the Endless Runner series, and today we see how to implement a page system for achievements menu, and we also implement the first 6 achievements of our game. Before we start, let me tell you that I just opened a Discord server which you can join to ask for programming tips. I also made a Twitch channel where I stream game development and gameplay like Spelunky 2. For game development, right now I'm streaming whatever next episode of the Endless Runner series I'm making. But I'm also working on a new PC game that I've been working on for some months now for PC, and I'll bring that to Twitch as well. So be sure to follow me, links in the description. Alright, so let's start with our episode. Let's start making the pages. So let's go in the canvas and shop panel, middle panel, and let's close the shop menu, open the achievements one. And here, each page is going to be made of these top and bottom shelves, as you can see. We're going to keep the trophy names and descriptions as they are. So let's make a new empty child. And let's stretch it. And bring the shelves in. And now we can just duplicate this page 1, rename it, and set it by default to false. Alright, so that's basically it for the actual UI making. Now let's get to scripting. So in our shop manager, we have a script called Achievements Manager. Let's make a new one just to handle the UI. So let's call it Achievements UI Manager. And let's open both the Achievements Manager that we made before and the new Achievements UI Manager. Alright, so this new Achievements UI Manager is empty, while the old one that handles the achievements in general has 2 main functions. One to unlock an achievement and one to update the trophy UI. Let's take this function into a new Achievements UI Manager to better divide responsibility. Then let's also take the values. Let's also import the UGUI and remove the library here. Alright, in here we're also going to make a page turning system, and for that we can actually copy the one that we have in our pages in Shop Manager. But before we do that, if we go to Unity, you see that we get an error in the console. That's because we are trying to call the function that we just moved in the old script. So I just add UI, and we also need to add a singleton. So in here, let's add a singleton pattern. And now we're good. Alright, now let's go to Unity. You can see that the error has gone away. And now, still in our Shop Manager, as I told, we have the pages in Shop Manager. We can actually just copy whatever is in here and add it to our Achievements UI Manager. Now we just delete the things that we don't need. So for example, we already have an awake function, so we certainly don't need this. While for the update buttons interactability, we don't really care about calling them on awake, so we can also remove the entirety of this. The turn page function we're going to keep. The unlock extra page we don't need, so we can remove it. And the update buttons interactability, we want it, but we don't want to rely on player prefs, because we're not going to care about player prefs in our achievements pages system. Alright, and finally we also remove the values that we don't need, so this 3, and we add the library for the UI. Perfect, so this actually already works. We just need a way to actually call this turn page function. And to do that, we are still going to use the same 2 buttons that we have here in our main menu. Instead of adding other buttons and having them work solely for the achievements menu, I want to make it so that these 2 work for both menus. To do this, we need a way to tell whether we are in the shop or in the achievements menu. So let's make another script in our shop manager, and I'm going to call it menu input manager. In here, let's make a bool to tell whether we are in the shop or not. And because the default menu for our system is the shop, we set it to true. Now let's make the function that we're going to call from the buttons in the menu. And for the parameters, we always call for an interaction value, with it being 1 to turn right and -1 to turn left. Then in here, it's very simple. We just check for the shop open. And if so, we call the pages in shop manager, and we call turn page. And we pass in the same parameter. Now we just need to do the same for the Achievements UI manager. And we're good. Now before we go any further, let's go to Unity. In our bot panel, select the turn page panel and turn page left button. We need to change it from pages in shop manager to menu input manager on menu button press. We can keep the value as is. Alright, back to coding. Now we have a way to call the right turn page function. We also need a way to actually change this isShopOpen value. So let's make a new function. And that's how we do it. Now we just need a way to call this. And if you remember, in our shop manager, we have a script called menu manager, which handles holes menu. And it also handles how they open and close. So if you open it, you can see that you have all different references for all the different menus. If you select the achievements menu, here's the function that opens it. In here, we can just call the menu input manager and tell it to change the isShopOpen value function. We don't have a singleton for this, so let's go back in and let's make one. Alright, back to here. And in this case, because we're opening the achievements menu, we set the value to false. And now we can just copy this function. And in the open shop menu function, we call it again, but with true. Perfect. Now, if you remember, we have different ways of using pages for our shop and our achievement system. While for the achievement system, we have 2 pages which are already available at the start of the game. For the shop system, the second page is available only if we unlock it. That means that the buttons have to update independently. So when we change the isShopOpen value, let's also update the buttons interactability accordingly. So if the shop is open, let's call the pages in shop manager. And let's update the buttons. We have a function for that, but it is private. So let's just set it to public. Great, now let's do the same for the Achievements UI manager. And in here, again, the function is private. Let's just set it to public. And let's go to Unity. Let's set all the references for the Achievements UI manager. Perfect. Make sure that page 1 is in element 0. And finally, let's close the Achievements menu and open the shop one. Let's clear paragraphs and hit play. So the shop's buttons are good. Let's go to Achievements. You can see that the right one now is available. We can press it to change page. And you can see it here because they're all locked. But you can see it in the hierarchy that page 2 is now open. If I press, now page 1 is open. And if I go to the second page and I go back to the shop menu, you can see that we're still on page 1. That means that they are independent. Pretty good. Alright, so we have our page system. Now let's also add some functionality to the text. Let's make it so that when we change page, it says which page we're on. Right now, when we touch a trophy, it tells us that trophy is description, but if everything is locked, like right now, then changing page doesn't really look well. We don't really understand what's going on. So let's close, and back in the Achievements UI Manager, we already have some references for the trophy name and trophy description. I just take the trophy name, and when we turn the page successfully, let's just set the trophy name to empty. And let's set the trophy description to say the page number, which in this case is page index to go +1. Because of how strings work, we also have to put this in parentheses, and we're good to go. Let's see how it looks. You can see that by default, we still have the default line, touch a trophy to inspect, and you can touch a trophy to inspect, but if you change page, it says page 2 or page 1. Pretty good. Alright, so that's it for the UI part, for the page system. Now let's implement the first page of achievements. We already made one in the previous part of the achievement system. We made the Sea Fog trophy. I want to also make the Wind and Thunderstorm trophy and the first 3 enemies, so the Octopus, the Whirlwind, and the Orca. Once we make one of them, it's actually really easy to make all the others. So let's start with the Wind and Thunderstorm. These ones are extremely simple. Let's just go in our game manager. In here, we have a script for wind. You can open it. And in here, we have a function called activate wind. In here, we can just call the Achievements Manager and unlock the wind achievements. But you can see we don't have those enums yet. So before we go any further, let me comment this real quick. Let's go in the achievement script, and in here, let's add all the enum values. Now before we do anything, remember that when you change an enum, you also change its index. So that means that if we now put a value in here, CFOG has become from element 0 to element 1. And that's going to mess up the values in the inspector if you have put some inspector values. One thing you can do to avoid this is simply adding the values at the end. So all the other values that come before won't change the order. But because we haven't really set up anything, it doesn't really matter. Also, I think it's a good practice to add an undefined value at the start of your enum. You can also call it not set or not available. Basically, by having the first element or the element 0 or enum to be a value that we are never going to use, we're going to know immediately if there's an error in our code when we forgot to set an enum value in the inspector. You'll see later what I mean. So now we have our enum values. Let's go back to wind, and now we can unlock that achievement. But while we're here, let's also go in your Achievements Manager and in our unlock achievement function. In here, we're looking for all the trophies in our array of trophies, and then we're checking whether that's null. If not, we throw an error, and then we check whether achievement has been unlocked or not, and then we unlock it. Let's make this better. Let's make it so the first thing we do is to check whether an achievement has been unlocked. To do so, instead of relying on a Boolean value, let's use player prefs, because this is unlocked value is just a player prefs check that we do on the achievement script. So let's just do it here. We simply get that player pref with that enum, and if it's 1, so if it's unlocked, we simply return. So we don't do any of this stuff. So now that we check whether it's unlocked or not in here, we don't need to check it here too. Finally, let's go into unlock this achievement function, and in here we unlock it, and then we call awake, which gets the image component and then updates that image component to black or white based on the availability, and we also check the isUnlocked value. But because we're not actually using anymore this isUnlocked value, we can just remove it. Alright, much better. There's always room for improvement. Now we've made these wind achievements. Let's go back to Unity. Let's open the thunderstorm script. And very similarly, we have an activate thunderstorm function. We can just do the same. And use the thunderstorm enum. Let's go to Unity. And now we just need to set the trophies accordingly. So in our achievements menu, page 1, let's open the shelves. And in here, have trophy 1 with the undefined value. So I'm going to set it to octopus and put the octopus values. With just some placeholder text, of course. Now I'm just going to go trophy to trophy and set all the enums accordingly. Alright, so I put all the 6 trophies for all the first 6 achievements. And now in the page 2, let's just select all trophies. Let's set the achievements type value to undefined. This way, they're not going to be able to be unlocked, and we know that we haven't set them up yet. It's a good trick that prevents bugs. Alright, finally, in our shop manager, in our Achievements Manager script, we have an array of trophies. Let's just fill it with the new trophies. And I know that this system isn't exactly optimal. We could use a system where we get the transform parent, get the components in children, get all the achievements values, etc. But really, it doesn't really matter. You know, we could do that. I just thought it wasn't necessary really for now. Anyway, we have everything figured out. So let's hit play. And now in the achievements panel, we have nothing unlocked. And now if we hit play, we can just wait for the fog, wind and thunderstorm, and we should get those achievements. Alright, so all 3 of them started in our gameplay. And now, oh, we also got the NPC talking. We can either lose or close the game, and the achievements will be already gotten. So it doesn't really matter. Look, I'm just gonna close manually and restart. And now in our achievements, we've got the trophies. Fog, wind, thunderstorm. Well, thunderstorm actually. Anyway, Now we are just missing the octopus, the orca, and the whirlwind. All three of these are entities, which means they all belong to the getMobManager script. Your game manager, here it is, getMobManager. And here we have a function, getMob, which looks in the array of enemies that we have and draws one at random. So here we look for a booty, here we look for an actual entity. So before we return the value, before we return the entity to our spawn manager, let's just add some space and let's make and add a new function called unlockAchievement. And as a parameter, we ask for the entity type. Alright, and now to fill it in, we are getting the entity type already in here. So I say we just save this value, or we save this function in a value. And paste it here. And now we can fit this to the function with the only problem that we are getting this value in this while loop. So the value isn't available here, but I can just move this function here and it won't matter before the break statement though. And we're good. Now we have a function that we call where we pass in the entity type of the enemy that we're about to spawn. So now in here, we just check for that entity type with the switch. And we don't care about defaults. We don't care about tentacles. We don't care about rook or booty. And now for each of these, we simply call the Achievements Manager. And we call unlockAchievement. And for the value, in this case, from entity type octopus, we call instead the achievements type octopus. We do the same for the others. And we're good to go. Let's go to Unity. Let's give it a final test. Here they're still locked. Hit play. Here's the octopus. Here's an orca. And here's a whirlwind. So now if we just lose and go back to the shop, we now have those achievements. Octopus, orca, whirlwind. Perfect. Alright, so that's it for this episode of the Thunderstorm series. Hope you learned something new. If you have any doubts or any suggestions about the next topic that you'd like to see, do tell me in the comments. Let me also remind you that I made a Discord channel where you can ask me more detailed questions about programming and whatnot. And I also started a Twitch channel where I stream the process behind the next YouTube video, so be sure to check it out. I'm also working on a new PC game, which I'm yet to announce, but I will stream it on Twitch, so tune in if you're curious. All links in the description. Be sure to like, subscribe if you like this content, and share it and whatnot, and have a good day.